Coming up on the premiere of BYU Basketball with Mark Pope, it'll be a season unlike any other. And it starts tomorrow night without spectators, but with plenty of optimism and postseason potential. Coach Pope and Alex Barcello help us get tuned up for tip-off next.
This is BYU Basketball with Mark Pope, presented by Siegfried & Jensen. And now, your host, the voice of the Cougars, Greg Wrubell.
Good evening, Cougar basketball fans. Welcome inside Studio C at the BYU Broadcasting Building in Provo, Utah for our season premiere of BYU Basketball with Mark Pope, your weekly close-up with Cougar Hoops. Always a fun hour, and we're so glad you're with us tonight. Coming up on this evening's first show of the season, we will look back on a 2019-20 season cut short by COVID. We'll look ahead to 3 games and 4 nights to open the 2020-21 campaign. Tonight's Cougar Q&A introduces us to newcomer Matt Harms, and tonight's live guest is senior starting guard Alex Barcello. But we get the show and the season underway by welcoming in the newly extended second-year head coach of the Cougars. He is Mark Pope, and the word came out just moments ago that BYU and AD Tom Homo have announced an extension on the coaching contract of Mark Pope. So, Coach Pope, congratulations to you, and I'm so glad we get to spend even more time together for years to come.
I'm so excited. It's such a gift to be able to coach here, and there's so many reasons why, and it certainly starts with the people you get to work for, and watching Tom and Brian and President Worthen and his whole staff kind of maneuver us as a university through all the trying times of this summer and this fall has been inspiring. And I'm so blessed to be able to work here and work for them and be a part of this great university. I could not be more excited.
How did this particular decision come about at a really unique time in college athletics?
Well, we've been actually talking about it for a long time, since the end of the season. And just kind of piece by piece, and it was hard to find a way to make everything feel right, and there were we just had some conversations on both sides, and on my end, it's just it was great. Tom asked a question a few days ago to all of Cougar Nation, said, "Who's all in?" And Leanna and I were like, "We are all in. Like, let's go." And so we couldn't be more grateful. It's great, and really the only reason why I signed the extension was because I wanted to be here on this show with you for the next 7 years.
Let's go. Well, I'm really personally very excited, very happy for you and your family, and for Cougar Nation and BYU basketball fans. We have a good thing going here.
Yeah, it's really special. After going through this season and just getting a chance to feel, first of all, this fan base and their just extraordinary response. I'm not overstating when I say there's no fan base like this in the world, where every single place we go, it doesn't matter if it's a visiting gym or the coach's show or Disneyland or wherever you go, there are Cougar fans there, and they care and they're honest. Like, one of the things I love so much is when I coach poorly, Cougar fans let me know. And when we play great, we all celebrate together. And so that's so exciting for us. And getting to be a part of a basketball program where basketball means so much, and yet there's something more and deeper about this university we represent. You don't get that everywhere either. And so there's a whole laundry list of reasons why we're so excited to be here, and I could go on for hours. You know me. I could go on for a long time.
Well, it's tremendous news, and congratulations again.
Thanks.
Okay. Well, when tomorrow night arrives, it will have been 261 days since BYU last played a game. It was in Las Vegas back in early March, and it brought to an early and, sadly, a remarkable season for Coach Pope and the Cougs in his first season on the BYU sidelines. We, of course, wish there had been more to come in the month of March. Let's look back, though, on how BYU got there a little bit in winning 24 games and setting the table for more success this season. These highlights presented by Intermountain Healthcare, and every shot, Coach, brings back a good memory.
Yeah, the first one was Coach Rose was sitting right in the front row at his alma mater, and TJ Hawes, the young man he brought to school here, hits a game winner last second, and it just gets better as we go. I mean, this crew last year gave us all so many extraordinary memories. It was really incredible. And with the heartbreak of missing out on the NCAA tournament was so devastating, these seniors did exactly what they always do. So we have 2 seniors that signed NBA contracts with guaranteed money. We got 2 seniors who signed contracts to go play in Europe. We got 2 seniors who are coaching right now, one who's a GA on my staff. And our 7th senior is in medical sales, and he's making more money than all of us. And so you think about what a special, incredible group that was and how well they're going to continue to represent BYU and everything they do. We're just blessed by these young men.
Well, last year's team was truly special, but as Coach notes, the players from that team, a lot of them have mostly scattered. The hoops cupboard, though, is by no means bare at BYU. Let's look a little bit at what the Cougars have coming back, and there is a lot back. Alex Barcello, Connor Harding, Colby Lee, Gavin Baxter, Trevin Nell, Jesse Wade and Cameron Pearson, all a part of last year's team. We'll talk about the red shirts in a minute, and those guys count as the newcomers for us as well. But you see these clips that our viewers are watching, and there's a lot coming back. Yeah,
it's a really great nucleus coming back. This Alex Barcello has taken on an incredible leadership role. We're going to talk to him later. Kobe Lee, in our first scrimmage, he only played 13 minutes. We had an in-house scrimmage a few weeks ago, and he had 20 points and 6 rebounds and was perfect from the free throw line and perfect from the field, which is vintage Kobe Lee, right? Connor Harding has missed the whole summer with a knee injury, but he's been back for like the last 6 weeks, and he's just playing at a high level. Gavin Baxter is showing incredible physicality. I mean, it's so fun to talk about these guys because we have a lot of growing to do. We got a lot of progress we have to make, but our ceiling is high, and it's built on these guys that are returning.
And of the guys we just talked about, those returners, only one, though, is that's senior, and that's Alex Barcello. You expect a lot from him.
Yeah, he's carrying a big burden on his shoulders. He's our emotional leader. He's our toughness leader. He's our physicality leader. He's also our point guard and probably our vocal leader. He's probably the leader of our locker room, and he's also got to play great. And so he's got a lot on his shoulders, but that's why he came here. He prepared for that all year last year. He's just a beautiful human being, and he's going to grow this year in ways he never thought possible and end up accomplishing some really special things.
How much more can he give you than he gave you last year?
Well, I've said this for the last couple weeks. So he was the #1 most efficient play type in the entire West Coast Conference. You take any play type from any team in the West Coast Conference, and Alex Barcello was #1 of all of them. So he had an unbelievable season, but he's moving from the 2 to play the point right now. It's his natural position. He is a playmaker extraordinaire. He makes our team function at a really high level, and we need him to do that. So we're going to see him just, kind of a more fuller picture of what he's capable of, and it's going to be really exciting.
He's going to be our live player guest later in the show. He toughed out the end of last season too, didn't he?
Yeah. Played the last 2 games with broken wrist, and didn't want to say anything to anybody about it, do anything about it. Just like, hey, we talked about it. He's like, Coach, there's no way I'm missing these games. And so he just is everything you want out of a leader of a team.
Well, for a closer look at what returns and what was lost from last year's team, let's go inside the numbers presented by Mountain America Credit Union. And so we see with the loss of guys like Childs and Hawes and Toulson, there's a lot of productivity to make up.
Yeah, there is. I mean, we lost 3 all-time BYU greats, like top 10 statistically in multiple categories, with like a hunger and humility and such a veteran presence about them. They'd been through the war, so you just can't replace that. It's impossible. You don't see top 10 guys come around every year, and so we're certainly going to miss those guys, and we're going to celebrate what they've done and what they're doing in the future, and then we're going to put this group together and tip it up tomorrow night and see what kind of team we can grow into. We're really excited.
Well, the 2020-21 Cougars may need a few of those hello, my name is stickers for the fans this year. Here's a look at some of the new guys. And, with all the talent coming back, there's a lot of talent coming in. Names like Matt Harms and Brandon Averette and Richard Harwood, who was still with the program last year but redshirting. Caleb Lohner, Gideon George, Wyatt Lowell, who was with the program last year and redshirting. Hunter Erickson comes in noon. Spencer Johnson, and a couple of guys we're not going to see play this year in Brandon Moore and Townsend Triple. Man, this is a big group.
It is. It's a big group. It's a really long group. It's a physical group, and it's a deep group. And that comes with all kind of challenges, but the challenges are a real gift to have. And so these guys are really special. I mean, we'll talk about this Matt Harms some more. He just is such a special individual, and his whole story about how he got here and what he's done since he's been here has been really special. Brandon Averett, I had to coach for 3 years. I had to coach him for a year to get to UVU, and then I had to recruit him a bunch to get him here, and I'm so excited. In fact, he walked by me before practice, or right after practice day, and was just like, I can't believe we actually get to have a player-coach relationship finally starting tomorrow. And you go down the list, Gideon George and Caleb Lohner are two young guys that just have such a world of talent. And right now their heads are absolutely spinning because there's so much information to take in, but they've just brought such a beautiful approach to the game, and it is a fun group. It's going to be a fun group to figure out. I
can only imagine how much fun it is to be designing rotations right now with this group.
Yeah, it's awesome. There's so many different directions we can go, and there's so many guys that can kind of step up, and it also is complicated in the sense of kind of finding the right pieces to fit together where, just because you have so many pieces. And it's, like I said, it's going to be really fun for us as a staff. It's going to be fun for our team, and it's going to be fun for BYU fans to see what they see on the court tomorrow, and then see how this team kind of morphs into finding its identity over the course of the season. I can't wait. I don't exactly know how it's going to work out. I just can't wait to see it.
So much focus goes on the length of the team, and you are a long group. But it's not just back to the basket shot making around the rim of these long guys. These are shot makers with some size.
Yeah, start with Matt Harms. I mean, he's been shooting it so well for us, especially the last couple of weeks. He's been shooting it unbelievable. Wyatt Lowell is just inching back toward health. He actually played the live play this week, and he can really, really shoot the ball. Then you have Caleb Lohner and Gideon George, who are incredibly athletic and long guys that are making shots for us. And so there's length and versatility, and we just have to grow. We just have to learn the game and learn how to play and learn how to do it together. And like I said, it's going to take us a season to do that, but I think by the end of this season, we have an unbelievable chance to have a really high ceiling.
I know a fraction of what you know about basketball, but I do know this. You'll be a better offensive rebounding team this year than last year.
Well, let's hope so. There's only 7 spots. Was there 7 spots behind us? I think we were through, 7, or now there's more D1 teams.
You made too many shots last year.
We made a lot of shots, and we didn't even try and go to the glass. We were asking too much of our limited depth roster to actually really crush them on going to the glass. That is very different this year. We talk about it every single day that one of the most important functional parts of our offense this year, as we learn, we don't have the veteran presence that we did last year of guys who are proven big-time scorers and playmakers. So one of the things that's going to save us is our work on the offensive glass. It is so important. We're going to have some ugly possessions because we're young and understanding the game that turn out beautiful because of what we do on the offensive glass.
Look forward to seeing it. Well, like every college sports schedule in the fall of 2020, there have been some modifications since the early version of this year's slate was drawn up. The season is starting later, and it's starting without a lot of previously scheduled teams on the agenda. Let's look at what BYU has lined up for at both the pre-New Year and then post-New Year portion of the schedule. This is a look at the non-conference slate, and it gets underway tomorrow night, and we see those first 3 games scheduled come in really quick order, 3 games in 4 nights. Why did you want to give yourself and your team this kind of test with 3 games in 4 days?
Well, a couple things. One is we just need to get to games. This is a team that we're going to have to figure out through games. We're going to have to learn through games. We didn't get an exhibition. We didn't get a private scrimmage. Those tools are usually incredibly valuable at helping teach your team before you get to games. So we just wanted to get an onslaught of games early. So that's reason number 1. Reason number 2 is if there's anything that BYU football has taught us, which they've taught us so much this year, it's that getting games and get them early, right? Get as many games in and get them as early as you can so it leaves you some flexibility on the back end. And then we also have a condensed period of time. We have 27 games instead of 31, but we have 15 less days in the non-conference schedule. And so our season is incredibly compact to fit all 27 games. And so all those things working together, it's going to be incredibly challenging. We actually have that 7-game stretch, which is the coach killer part of our deal where, I and everybody else could get fired because it's just so challenging. But that's going to help grow us. Our focus is squarely on what type of team can we become at the end of the season, because I think by the end of the season, we have a chance to be great. We got a long way to go to get there.
To conference play. As of right now, the WCC is still playing a traditional schedule. 16 games, meaning you'll play 2 teams just once, either home or away. But right now, it's a typical schedule where you're going to see teams home and away for the most part. This is a look at the first half, the first 8 games, and we see that Gonzaga doesn't appear on this page.
Yep, we played them pretty much back-to-back the second half of the season. We start out the conference season 4 or 5 games on the road. A really tough opener at Pepperdine, who's got a big-time roster this year. They're one of those teams that's picked in the very, very top echelon of the conference. But this conference has proven itself year after year after year to be so good and so competitive. And this year's going to be no exception. We're excited.
And we see Gonzaga, they're appearing on the last game of the season, as often happens in the WCC. They like to have that BYU-Gonzaga game come as a season ender. That's happened rather frequently over time.
So this is important, okay? All of you government officials and you medical professionals who are doing such an extraordinary job managing this COVID. It's February 27th, right?
The last game of the season.
We got to have this figured out by February 27th.
You need a full house.
We got to have it figured out by February 27th so we can have fans in the stands. I know there's way more serious things going on in the world, but I'm still holding out hope, man, that we can get some people in this gym.
No, it is such a sense of nostalgia and warm-heartedness and yet melancholy when I look at that great framed photo of that last Gonzaga home game. It was such a special night, and you want to see it and feel it again, right?
It was really special. And listen, I mean, Gonzaga is been such a vanguard of this league, and they're such a. It's so fun to compete against them and try and figure them out. That great program, and so we'll figure it out. But man, it'd be great if we could find. I know it's a long shot, but if we could find some equilibrium by then, it'd be really great.
Some way to get a vibe like that back again. It was a truly special night. Well, let's head to break and tell you that for your day-to-day Cougar sports play-by-play, watch BYU Sports Nation with Spencer Linton and Jerem Jordan weekdays noon Eastern on BYUtv and BYU Radio. Chris Burgess, Coach Burgess, joining the program tomorrow. Later in this program, Alex Barcello on his senior season and new group of teammates. But when we come back, it's a look at a busy week ahead for the Cougar Hoopsters. This is BYU Basketball with Mark Pope. Welcome back to BYU Basketball with Mark Pope, presented by Siegfried and Jensen. It's a basketball show, but in the last hour, 2 hours, the college football playoff selection committee rankings came out. And the first rankings have BYU at 14th. I know that you think higher of Kalani's team than 14. I do, and I know Cougar Nation does. That was a tough one to see, quite frankly.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't have a great filter, and I know nothing about football, but we are the only 9-0 team in the entire country. Is that
correct.
Not true?
That is correct.
And we've played spectacularly
by the games.
Every possible metric. There's nobody that would deny that we have a dominating offensive line. There's nobody who would deny that we have a legitimate Heisman candidate and one of the top quarterbacks in the country. And our numbers, and first of all, we got the coolest head football coach in America, okay? It's one of those moments when, as a casual but fanatic fan, I just want to make a call to Siegfried and Jensen and say, will you please represent us on behalf of this football championship bowl selection committee or whatever it is? I just don't understand, Greg. I'm losing my mind.
Cougar Nation loves you. Our sponsors really love you. And we just have to say, that kind of product placement.
If you see this, we have a Siegfried and Jensen sign back here. I'm telling you, Siegfried and Jensen, if you can get us into the top 10, we will put a giant billboard. I might wear Siegfried and Jensen on my lapel at games.
You know what? I'm not sure how many more football games we're going to get. It may be more than one at this point, but you've got to get into Kalani's locker room for a pregame speech at some point here. I mean, that could put him over the top.
He's way smarter than that. He knows not to let me come in there and mess that up.
Well, we know that you've tried your hand at this whole football thing already. We're going to see the video right now where you were at the stadium kind of taking care of business a little while ago. Let's see this again for those who may have missed it.
Okay, team, DJ is going to continue to mix until we see the team leave the locker room. Then go intro video, shoot off pyro, and welcome our Cougars to the field. Copy that. Welcome the team after we shoot pyro. With so many limitations on personnel and staff in the stadium, some of us are having to take on multiple roles. Ready? Fire! No. On my cue. Everybody ready? Okay, DJ, cut and go intro video.
video. This is football.
No, that's the right video.
We work with a really talented crew of people on this campus, and I know it had to be a lot of fun to put together with those folks.
It was fun. I mean, come on, this football season with all of its weirdness has captured all of us, right? And we're all on the bandwagon with this football team, and it's been so special. And I can't wait to see how that turns out, because they got great things ahead of them, and hopefully, things work out. There's so many dynamics at play, but the one thing we know is we can trust what Tom's doing, we can trust what Kalani's doing, and we can trust what this team is doing. And so it's going to be a fun ride to see how we finish. It's been awesome.
As exciting as it is to see even more football, we are pumped up for the basketball season to get underway. And here's your broadcast schedule for this week, which features 3 games in 4 days scheduled, starting tomorrow. Think about it, by this time next week, by next Tuesday night, BYU will have already played 4 regular season games, and it all starts tomorrow night against Westminster. And we have Cougar pregame live on BYU Radio at 7 Eastern, BYUtv's brand new countdown to tip-off pregame show with Jerem and Ty Haas at 7:30 Eastern. Then the game is at 8. Then Thursday against New Orleans, and then Utah Valley on Saturday. Those games are scheduled both on BYU TV and BYU Radio as well. We see first Coach Pope, the Griffins, with Norm Parrish and Westminster.
Well, Coach Parrish is a legend in the state of Utah. He's done everything there is to do and coached at about every institution here, and he's done an unbelievable job at Westminster. And tomorrow night we have our work cut out for us. I think as a team that's going to really push the ball in transition. They run a kind of continuity pistol offense that we're very familiar with, that we know how hard it is to guard. And then he's got his own kind of patented triangle screening action that's incredibly frustrating to guard. And it's going to be a great game for us. To try and jump in and get a first look at who this team is and who we can be against a really, really well-coached and talented team.
Then you go back-to-back Thanksgiving night game out of the Southland Conference. They've been a good team recently. They've been a 20-win team recently. And this is New Orleans. We're talking about the Privateers coming in on Thanksgiving night. Originally designed to be part of a 2-game deal for them. Right now they've got you, and I think just you right now, on the weekend schedule. But Coach Schlesinger bringing UNO. Now, they're off a disappointing year last year, but, man, they were just really, really hit hard by the injury bug, and it'll be a different-looking team, better team this year.
Yeah, they're really good. They are really versatile. They are a pressure team. They're going to full court press us. They're going to get out in passing lanes. They're a hard show on ball screens. Really, really athletic, talented, intelligent basketball team that plays incredibly hard with a big-time attitude and chip on their shoulder. So, those back-to-back nights, we got our work cut out for us. It's going to be really fun, and we're getting 2 teams that look very, very different in terms of what we're seeing Wednesday and Thursday and how they play and where their skill set is. And so it's going to really test the versatility of us and how we can play.
Our final Know the Foe preview brought to you by Qualtrics looks ahead to the weekend after an off day on Friday and scheduled to play Utah Valley on Saturday night.
Yeah, it's first of all, our guys are so excited because we went 2-a-days for 5 weeks, and so they've all been walking around in a blur, and they're just grateful for this schedule because there's no time left to practice. They're essentially done with practice.
Game, yeah.
But, Mark Madsen has done an unbelievable job with Utah Valley. It's a great program. He's really working hard to take it to new heights. He's got a really, really talented new roster also, but really talented, got some great size and athleticism. And it's an in-state game. We all know how in-state games are. They're like a battle to the death. I mean, it always comes down to the wire, and this will be a really fun game for everybody involved. We're excited about it. What
does seeing that logo still do for you?
It's a special place. I mean, I think, listen, everybody in this valley has some connection to Utah Valley University. It's a great institution, and they're in great hands there now with President Jimenez and with Coach Madsen, and I expect to see great things out of them in the future.
All right, that is a look at our first week of BYU basketball heading into break now, and you can break down Cougar football with Dave McCann, Blaine Fowler, and David Nixon on After Further Review. It's on demand now on the BYU TV app. After this break, it's our season debut of Q&A with Matt Harms, plus your questions for the coach. This is BYU Basketball with Mark Pope.
BYU Basketball with Mark Pope is brought to you by Siegfried and Jensen, helping Utah families for over 30 years. America First Credit Union, we're here to help. The BYU Store, official outfitter of BYU fans everywhere. Zions Bank. We haven't forgotten who keeps us in business. And by Qualtrics.
Earlier in this show, Coach Pope mentioning some of BYU's players playing professionally, and let's take a look at some of our Cougars in the pros. Yoli Childs has reportedly agreed to an undrafted free agent deal with the Washington Wizards. Jake Toolson signing an Exhibit 10 contract with our own Utah Jazz. TJ Haas, the bearded one, playing in Poland and scoring 18 for his team. Trefl Sopot. Zach Sellius scored 16 for his team, BC Prievidza. And Jimmer Fredette, 27 for the Shanghai Sharks in China in his last game. And the Cougars in the Pros is brought to you by the Deseret News. We got guys playing for pay.
Okay, so first of all, you're Slovakian, outstanding. You're Polish, great. But you took no shot at Chinese.
I kind of played it safe, didn't I?
All right, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, come on. How great is that? So Yoli Childs is going to play for one of the greatest, the greatest human beings, coaches in the NBA, and this Scott Brooks, who I was an assistant coach for me when I played for the Nuggets, and I love him. And he's got, someday we should do a whole story, just a whole show just on Scott Brooks stories. And Jake, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say this, but he had a workout today that was just off the charts. With some of his future teammates, and we're so excited for him. And TJ's crushing it. And you said Zach in his last game had 16 points. It's so fun to watch these guys. And Jimmer, of course, is the legendary Jimmer Fred. He's always doing his work. And we have a whole slew of other guys that are playing right now that are fantastic. There's a great contingent of BYU players out there representing professional basketball.
Yoli in particular got to kind of look through options, right, and then pick what he felt was the best fit.
Yeah, it was a nerve-wracking 24 hours. It was nerve-wracking 48 hours because there's the 24 hours leading up to the draft. Then there's the draft, and really it's only after the last pick in the draft that the mayhem started for him. And he was on the phone straight for probably 18 straight hours, having conversations with different teams that were all trying to drag him in, and working with his agent to find the right fit. And I think he has. And we all know what he can do, and I have high expectations for both him and Jake in terms of what they're going to do in the next few months. All right.
Each week on this program, we get to know the Cougars through the eyes and the words of those who know them best, their own teammates. It's Cougar Q&A presented by Zions Bank. We haven't forgotten who keeps us in business. And this week, the Cougars give us the business on newcomer Matt Harms.
Matty, he's a great guy. He's so tall. He's 7'3".
He's one of my fellow big men. Emphasis on the big because he is 7'3".
He's freakishly tall. I always thought I was somewhat tall, but the man's huge.
Matt's from the Netherlands. My family is also from the Netherlands, and my grandpa played professional basketball there.
He's a positive dude. I really don't hear him being negative ever.
Guy has a bunch of knowledge. He's very smart.
He's 7'3". You just throw the ball at the top, he just turn and put the ball at the hoop, so he's the cheat code.
He's got a lot of potential in the future in terms of basketball, but he's still very committed to his schoolwork.
Matt's, I think, naturally just a born leader. Dude's always trying to help everyone around him, his teammates. He'll even try to help the coaches when he can.
What he's been able to teach me and being able to bring over to this squad and his immediate leadership has been something really special to watch.
Within a week of being in Provo, he texted me and asked how my knee was and knew that I was hiking the Y all the time. So he said, your rehab is our rehab as a team. So he actually went and hiked the Y with me a few days later.
He's one of the most socially responsible people that I've met. He's not afraid to take a stand about his beliefs, about how he feels.
Just such a caring guy, puts everybody first in his life.
So, Dutch guy from Purdue ends up at BYU. We don't get a lot of that story.
No, I mean, this Matt Harms is incredible. His story, again, we could take an hour and chronicle his story just from when we first started talking to him, when he landed here, and the fact that he made the choice to come here, and how much he's put his heart and soul into BYU already. It's just extraordinary. In fact, with this in mind right now, I come to the show bearing gifts. I'm so excited about this. You guys come out here. So I fully expect that you are going to put this up in your house, okay? The very first ever limited edition Matt Harms growth chart measuring stick. It is awesome. 3.5 feet wide and 7 feet 3 inches tall. So you should be able to use it for the next 10 years till you outgrow it.
Yeah, and I don't even get to the 6 feet mark. But I thank you very much for this. It's going up. It's going up in the office at home.
We need a picture when it's posted with some measurements. And then what we're going to do is we have a couple more of these. So I don't know what it is. Somebody needs to hit me on social media with the best Matt Harms line, the best Matt Harms joke or jingle, and we'll send them out because these are really exciting. He's 7 foot 3 inches, and he's every bit of that size to this university and this program. He's going to be really special. It's going to be an unbelievable 7 months with him.
We look forward to it. Jerem Jordan, we thank you. And Julian Riley, we thank you for being a part of this display.
Look at how handsome this kid is. Are you kidding me?
Thanks, guys. And that is going up. Can I take it home? Or
yeah, you take it home today.
I'm taking it home. All right, so from Cougar Q&A with Matt to some social media Q&A for Coach Pope now on the Pope Show presented by Smith's Fresh for Everyone. Our first question from the socials tonight comes in from Chaplain Schumann on Twitter. Coach, how much does the offensive philosophy of this team change because of different personnel, or does it remain the same? He says, thank you for what you're doing with BYU basketball. It has been awesome to watch.
Chaplain, thanks so much for the question. So a couple things. One is our philosophy in terms of us being really aggressive offensively, where we are a pass-first team and we work really hard to earn each other open shots, is going to stay the same. We're always going to be a pass-first team. We'll always be a pace, and we'll always be a space team. With that said, some things are going to change. Our experience level is not quite as high as it was last year, so we're going to have to try and simplify things a little bit more early on. I kind of lost my mind the last couple of weeks getting creative, and I kind of lost my guys too. So we're taking a little step back in terms of kind of making this a little condensing our playbook a little bit as we go forward. We're going to see these guys really, really be tough on the offensive glass. We should see us even work harder in transition offense right now. We should have more pace because we have more depth. So the general philosophy is going to be the same. The way we approach it is we're going to really hit on some different points this time, and hopefully the end result is just as good.
I hope it's not speaking out of school here, but I heard you ask your players a question today, and the question was, if we miss our first 8 threes tomorrow night, what are we going to do? Yes. And the answer from all of them was, keep shooting.
Right, that's right. We have a shooter's mentality on this roster. We approach it in a very specific way, both in terms of the way we practice, the way we finish every shot, and also our mental approach to shooting. And so that will always be a hallmark of BYU basketball as long as Tom lets me stay here.
And it's going to be a while, evidently. At Ames Flames on Twitter, question number 2. Any chance the Saturday game actually happens? That's the Utah Valley game.
Yeah, so if you heard, it was announced today that the Stanford-Utah Valley game got canceled. There's been some COVID issues. So we are incredibly hopeful that we can keep this game. There's still a bunch of testing protocol that's got to go on over the next few days. Our doctors, their doctors, our trainers, their trainers. I've had 4 or 5 conversations with Coach Madsen today, and we're trying to work it out because we want the game. It's an important game. These in-state games are really, really important. So we're crossing our fingers. But this is going to exemplify what the whole season is going to be.
A moving target, no way.
It's always going to be a moving target. We actually were on the phone today. We contacted 9 schools thinking that we might lose this game, trying to reschedule a game for 72 hours from now. And that's the way it's going to be. And we're prepared for that. We're excited about it. And it's easy to be excited because we're just so grateful that we actually get to tip it up. We're so grateful.
Cannot wait. Coming up after this break, the players give thanks. And we are joined by senior guard Alex Barcello. This is BYU Basketball with Mark Pope.
I'm going to love watching Barcello play. That guy's intense, man.
Barcello open 3. That one goes down.
He's literally on fire. Gets it back from the corner for 3. Good! To Barcello for 3. He got it! AB for 3. Look at Barcello. What a play!
Oh, how I love calling AB for 3. Welcome back to BYU Basketball with Mark Pope, presented by Siegfried and Jensen. Well, when Alex Barcello arrived at BYU last season as a highly sought-after P5 transfer, we didn't know at the time that he wouldn't be the only hoopster in his family to play in Provo. Cougar Hoops is now a Barcello family affair, as we'll learn as we say hello to someone we're always happy to see. He is AB Alex Barcello. Alex, good to see you once again. How you been?
I've been great. I'm ready to play.
Let's go. So, senior year arrives on you rather suddenly, it seems. You were an Arizona player before you came to BYU, got cleared to play immediately, and suddenly here we are at a senior season somehow. Has it gone quick for you?
Oh, it's gone so quick for me, but I'm so thankful that I came here. I'm able to play for such a great coaching staff and such a great team, a group of guys. We've been working hard throughout all this COVID stuff, and we're just ready to play. We're ready to suit up and play tomorrow. Compared to what you hoped or thought it would be, to what it has turned out to be, what's your BYU experience been like? It's been unbelievable. I think of it as a blessing. I haven't regretted my decision since coming here, and it's been just like unbelievable joy. I mean, there's been ups and downs throughout last season, winning and losing. But overall, when I sit and reflect, I'm so thankful to be here.
Are you telling me that there hasn't been one day or one moment when you regretted your decision to come here?
Maybe a couple practices that you've gone sideways on me, but other than that, I'm good. Alex Barcello is BYU's leading returning scorer coming into this year, so a lot is going to be counted on from AB. And Coach Pope, it's almost like I sense that if there was a guy you're going to put, something heavy on his shoulders, that's the guy you would choose, right?
Well, you look at his shoulders in these clips, and you look at his shoulders with him sitting in the annex right now. He's got big, broad shoulders, and that's important because he's carrying a ton of weight this year, and that's why he came here. And it's been unbelievable to watch him grow as a leader over the course of the summer and then through training camp. As he recognizes, he's starting to learn what that weight is and how important it is and how important he is to the way that this team feels and the way this locker room feels. He's done an unbelievable job. He's taken it seriously, and he's been fantastic.
AB, you jacked up your wrist at the very, very end of last season. I think it was in the Pepperdine game when you fell beneath the basket standard. Is that accurate? And if so, what kind of grind was it just to get to the finish line last year for you?
It was a grind, just like it was for all of our players. But we kind of held ourselves to a standard of if we're going to get hurt, we're going to get back quicker than the doctor told us or than Rob told us. It was just kind of the mindset that we all had together. Like we all had our own role on that team. And in order to get to where we wanted to be postseason, we all had to give everything we had to.
We didn't get to see how long you could grind through the postseason because of COVID after all. And then when you come back as a team, you're now dealing with new protocols that you continue to kind of go through to get to be able to play. So much is being asked of college basketball players and college athletes in general right now just to play the game they love. What has it done to you or for you to have to go through this as a team?
I think it's made you handle it kind of how you handle a season. There's going to be adversity thrown at you, whether it's a guy getting injured, a new guy having to step up into a certain role that he didn't have before, and trying to own that role for the betterment of the team. So I think that's the biggest thing, being mature, not going out to a whole bunch of different places right now, trying to just stay at home and then go to practice and go back home. So just trying to stay safe, follow all the protocols, being mature, and then knowing that we're going to be thrown a million different things, but it's just how we're going to respond to it.
Coach Pope, people who follow BYU basketball on social media may have seen over the summer, the recent months, #BLRA. Tell us what that stands for and how Alex maybe embodies what you're trying to do there.
Yeah, we're striving for the best locker room in America, and so it's something we talk about every day, that our guys are working towards every day. It's something we aspire to. It's something that we believe here that we can kind of corner the market in, or be one of the best teams in the country every single year at having the best locker room in America. And Alex is the ringleader. His teammates have so much confidence in him. He brings so much energy to the floor. I think all of us, staff included, we think that there's just about nothing that Alex Barcello can't do except for maybe win a game of Uno.
Oh, is that a weakness, Alex, in your game?
I don't know. I feel like Coach cheated in that game.
Well, I don't know.
He might not play the right way. He's not following the rules.
So we had 2 players over to the house, appropriately socially distanced, on Sunday for dinner. Alex Barcello and Brandon Averette went head-to-head with the Pope girls in some Uno. Alex Barcello, who won those games?
BA did.
You don't know how much it pains him to say that right now.
Hey, I'm just glad that your girls didn't win. I can be okay with BA, but as long as Shay or Avery didn't win, like I'm good with that.
So you and your running mate, BA, to go along with AB, get to play 3 games in 4 nights along with your teammates here this weekend to get it going. I guess after this long, you're probably like, bring them on. Bring as many games as you can quickly. Let's go.
Oh, for sure. You know, I'm so happy that BA chose to come over here. You know, he's an unbelievable guy off the court, but an even better guy on the court, you know, just with his character that he brings to the table, how good of a teammate he is, how hard of a worker he is. And I'm excited to be in the backcourt with him this year. You know, I think we're going to give a lot of teams a lot of trouble, but it's going to be fun. You know, him and I are both ready to attack our senior season.
I began the interview with you by talking about BYU hoops now being a family affair. Let's go back maybe 2 or 3 years. What are the chances that 2 Barcellos would have been playing at BYU a few years ago?
Not very likely, but man, I'm so grateful that I'm here. And when my sister came and visited me over the summer, kind of looked around campus, and she's been talking with the coaches a lot more. She just kind of fell in love with it. And like, you know, I have nothing bad to say about this other than, you know, Coach Pope getting on me a couple practices last year, but it's been unbelievably grateful to me. And I'm so happy that she's going to be in a good place that's going to take care of her, and, you know, that it was her decision to come here.
How cool is that part of the story, huh?
Nah, come on. It's actually so cool. So Alex and I had some conversations during her recruiting process a little bit as he was kind of trying to feel out what to do. And I was like, well, Alex, I mean, you're going to be the number 1 recruiter to get her to come here. And certainly I think they've got to witness how well he's fit here and how BYU Cougar Nation has embraced him and how much success he's had. And I love it. I love it that the family that he gets to share that with his sister and his mom and his other sister, that the whole family gets to share it together. And it's awesome. You're not going to find a finer human being in the world than Alex Barcello. He just is a spectacular human being. I'm so grateful we get him for another year. Let's go, baby.
I always enjoy talking with you, Alex. Pre-game, post-game, coach's show, whatever, or just off the court. Pleasure tonight, and a tradition we've carried over from the Satake show. We always let Kalani have the final word and say goodnight to the player guests. So, Coach Pope will throw it over to you to say so long.
Yeah. Okay. So you're in the annex, right?
Get some shots.
So you can go jump in that cold pool, have a protein shake, and then go home and go to bed. Man, we got 3 games in 4 nights, AB.
I got you, Coach. I'm going to get a couple shots up, then hop in the tub.
There we go. Thanks, Alex. Have a great night.
Thanks. Thank you, guys.
All right. As we go to break, here's this week's trivia question presented by the BYU Store. Who's the only freshman in BYU basketball history to average more than 20 points per game? We'll tell you after our final break. Trivia time. Who's the only freshman in BYU hoops history to have averaged more than 20 points per game in his freshman year? Well, that was the great Danny Ainge. Without the benefit of a 3-point line, we might add what he might have done. Cougar pregame live on BYU Radio tomorrow at 7 Eastern. BYUtv's brand new countdown to tip-off pregame show at 7:30 Eastern as we look ahead to BYU and Westminster in the season opener, and then games against New Orleans and Utah Valley. We hope on Thursday and Saturday, respectively. All those games on BYUtv and BYU Radio, pregame and postgame for all. And speaking of BYUtv, tomorrow morning on Sports Nation, on BYU Sports Nation with Spencer and Jerem, Kalani Sitake and Zach Wilson join the program to talk about what is ahead for Cougar football and in light of today's College Football Playoff Committee selection rankings, putting BYU at number 14. We'll see what happens from here. All right, in this week of Thanksgiving, the Cougar Hoopsters are expressing their gratitude to be back on the floor and a whole lot more.
I'm grateful for my family, for everything that they've done for me and everything that they mean to me.
I want to say I'm grateful for life, and I'm grateful for my family life back home in Nigeria. And I'm grateful for being here at BYU and playing BYU basketball. I'm grateful for it.
I am so grateful for my friends and all those who've supported me. I am grateful for my teammates, and I am especially grateful for my wonderful family.
And this year's Thanksgiving will include some basketball, a game on Thanksgiving night.
Yes, we'd be grateful to anything more than we have the opportunity to play. You know, our guys kind of took this up after President Nelson's clarion call to kind of drown social media with things we're thankful for and how effective that would be. And it's something we talk about on our team all the time. And so it's been fun to hear our guys talk. Is there a more likable human being in the world than Gideon George? I mean, you just watch him and you're like, he just is spectacular. All our guys are so special, but it's fun to hear them kind of acknowledge all the blessings they have in their life.
Gideon is someone that has engaged in charitable efforts at a high level. Yep. Some fans may know what he's been doing. For those who don't know, what would you say about Gideon and what he's already done to give back? So it's really great. Gideon George came here from Africa, moved here, went straight to New Mexico, Hobbs, New Mexico, and was there. And he saw one of his teammates the first week kind of dropping a lightly used pair of shoes in the trash, and he was just shocked. He's like, what are you doing? And so his teammate said, well, they're worn out. I'm not going to wear them anymore. And Gideon was like, can I have them? And so he actually started collecting in junior college, and he's continued that here. But he's sending them back to his homeland, and he actually grew up wearing these shoes from these foundations he's now gathering shoes for as a kid. We actually just mailed 2 huge boxes today of shoes that he's collected here, and he's continuing to work really hard. He just is such an incredibly beautiful human being and such a great representative of BYU. It's awesome. I know that you're grateful in this week of thanks for your newest signees as well. You have 2 we can talk about, right? Fousseyni Traore and Jake Wallin. Yep. 2 really special players. You can see Fous on the screen right now from Mali, Africa, just outside Bamako. He's only been in the States for a few years. He is a giant-bodied human being, and he's got a heart that equals his size. He's incredibly talented and physical, and his upside is so massive. I just love talking to him. I just like being around him. I mean, BYU is going to fall in love with him. He's so special. And Jake Wallin is he also got an incredibly high ceiling. He's a 6'7", maybe 6'7" point guard. He handles the ball. He's a terrific passer and playmaker. He's really kind of made this shift from power forward to 2-guard to point guard. He really came on this summer, was highly recruited just from right here at Timpview High School. And he's going to be a really, really special player when he gets here, and I'm excited about what he can become. He's a great young man. When does he get here? Well, the plan is right now to finish his senior year, and then he'll leave on a mission. He'll be here, 2028 or whatever. Fous is he's a sooner arrival. Yeah, Fous will be here next fall. He'll be here in the spring, and so it's 2 really, really special players that are going to fit in exactly with what BYU is. They fit here perfectly. They're incredibly different guys from different backgrounds, different ideologies, different everything, but they were born to be here at BYU, and they're going to be great representatives of the university. Well, this hour has flown by. We're in our final 60 seconds of our first show. Tomorrow night, I'm going to be in a different place in the Marriott Center. You're going to be across from me with some socially distanced benching. Everything's going to look a little different. We'll have some cool elements we may or may not want to talk about right now, but we're going to be in the stands. We won't see a ton of people in the building. It's going to look and feel different to start, and hopefully we get back to something toward normalcy. But the bottom line is it's BYU basketball back in the Marriott Center where magic happens. Yeah, and listen, I'm grateful for BYU, the athletic department, and all the people running the Marriott Center, because we're bringing this 60-foot video board where we're inviting fans to zoom in and actually be fans in the stands on the video board, watching the game, help support the team, among other things we're doing in the arena. It's going to be so spectacular. We're going to make the best of everything we can, and hopefully we'll hold up the bargain too and play really well. Look forward to tomorrow night. We'll see you there. Fans, thanks for being with us. Have a great week. Go Cougs. We'll see you next week.